A couple of months ago, I made a video where I talked about my day-to-day life as a 35-year-old unemployed bald loser that still lives with my dad. And since I made that video, some things have happened in my life that have motivated me to actually take steps toward making my life better. And it's not really just about improving my own life, but what I've realized is that the way I've been living my life, I have been a huge burden on my family, especially my parents. And I've known that for a while, and it's something that I've been ashamed of for a long time, to the point I think I just kind of ignored it and just didn't want to think about it. And I even sometimes would try to justify my lifestyle in my head, like I would do all sorts of mental gymnastics to convince myself that the way I was living, that I was actually being fair to my parents. I would tell myself things like, well, I never asked to be born, and they're my parents. They made the decision to have me. They signed up for this. And saying it out loud now, it's obvious how it's just complete nonsense. Like, of course my parents don't deserve to be burdened like this. I'm 35 years old, and being unemployed and being a financial burden on my parents is bad enough, but that alone wouldn't be so bad. But I also haven't even been doing my fair share of work around the house. And for years now, I just haven't been putting in my fair share of effort when it comes to like just being there for my parents. I sometimes go weeks at a time without even talking to my mom, and she'll be texting me and leaving me messages, and I just won't respond until she eventually just comes over to my dad's house just to see me. And obviously she's going to be worried about me when I'm not responding like that, but I don't know, I really just didn't care. Like, I just didn't give her any consideration. And, my parents have been good to me my whole life. They deserve better. They really do deserve better from me. So I've come up with a plan, and what it is I've designed a schedule for myself to follow, and I think if I follow this schedule that I can significantly improve my mom and dad's lives. And maybe in the process, my own life will improve as well. And I still think self-improvement is mostly a cope. In my case, I have a years-long employment gap on my resume. I'm 35 years old with a bald, misshapen, tiny head. I have crippling social anxiety. I'm addicted to adult content on the internet. And lately I'm starting to think I might actually have narcissistic personality disorder. I mean, I have a YouTube channel where I talk about my life. That's about as narcissistic as it gets. And on top of that, I'm sure I also have a host of other undiagnosed mental and emotional issues dragging me down. So I do think it's pretty much over for me. So even if I did want to improve my life situation for my own sake, I don't think it could ever work because I truly do not believe that that's possible. But I can see how my actions affect my parents, because that is pretty easy to see. And I see it every day when my dad, again, has to remind me to wash the dishes or something. And I see it whenever I talk to my mom and I try to explain to her why I haven't been able to find a job yet. So I can see how my actions and my lifestyle does affect my parents' lives. So I figure if I know for a fact that my actions can affect their lives, then that means there must be something I can do to affect their lives in a positive way. And it's not going to help me meet my perfect dream girl. It's not going to help me land a six-figure job. But maybe it will help my mom and dad live out the rest of their lives a bit more comfortably. Because they are getting old now. And, if this somehow does improve my own life in the process, then okay, great. But I'm really not counting on it. So here's what I'm going to do. Here is how I plan to start living my life starting tomorrow. And by the way, I'm purposefully not trying to set too high of expectations for myself here. So none of this is really all that extreme of a change in my life, but I designed it like that on purpose because I want to start with some small changes at first, and then hopefully, as I get more accustomed to my new lifestyle, I can make some bigger changes later on after that. And it's really just an issue of helping myself stay motivated, without setting too high of expectations for myself. So let's get into it. So the first thing I plan to do is I plan to start waking up at 8 o'clock a.m. every morning. I'm going to set an alarm for 8 a.m. and not just wake up, but actually physically get out of bed. And I'm going to drink some water, use the bathroom, and brush my teeth. Then the very first thing I do in the morning after that is I'm going to go outside and go on a 10-minute walk. Because, I could probably stand to just get more sunlight in general, and I figure I have the best chances of actually getting it done if I do it first thing in the morning when my willpower is at its highest. And I don't know, it just seems like a good way to start the day. It's something that's easy to do, and I don't know how much exercise you can really get by walking for 10 minutes. I'm sure it's not much, but it's better than sitting in a chair. So I'm gonna start my mornings getting out of bed at 8 a.m., then going for a 10-minute walk. Then when I get back from the walk, which will probably be around 8:30 or something, I'll sit down and I'll start working on this channel. I'll brainstorm video ideas, do some audio editing or video editing, I'll work on thumbnails, and just do other stuff like uploading videos or making community posts or anything at all that needs to be done for the sake of this channel. And while I'm working, I'm going to go no distractions mode. So I'm not going to be browsing Reddit or watching random videos or anything like that. I'm going to be working. I'm actually going to sit down and just work. And I already know a lot of you are going to say I should be spending that time working on, trying to find an actual job. And I agree that would definitely be a better use of my time. But I'm really just so disillusioned with the entire job thing. And right now in my life, my motivation is just at an all-time low. But I do enjoy working on this channel. So at least that is something. So what I'm doing is I'm choosing to be doing something rather than nothing. It's not the best something that I could be doing, but it is something. So this is what I'm doing for now, and I plan to, I'm going to work on this channel for 2 to 3 hours every morning with no distractions. And then whenever I'm done with my morning work session, which should be anywhere from 10:30 to 12:30, I'll have lunch. And I want to make it a point to actually cook my own lunch. And I've had several times throughout my life where I had healthy eating phases, so I do know a little bit about nutrition and I know how to cook a healthy meal. So I'm going to use a simple healthy eating method that I invented, and it's nothing complicated. All it is I'm going to try to eat 1 protein, 1 green, and 1 carb in every meal. So a standard meal might be eggs, rice, and spinach, or chicken, cauliflower, and a potato, or ground beef, pasta, and broccoli. And there's just 1,000 different healthy meals you can make with this simple method. And for the most part, they're all pretty simple and easy to cook. And I'll probably skip cooking my own food if there's some leftovers left of whatever my dad had cooked for dinner the night before. But a lot of the time he just eats fast food, so I'm gonna try my best to not eat that. But if he cooks like fried pork chops and cornbread or something like that, then I'm gonna eat that. And I know that's also not very healthy, but I'm not gonna let fried pork chops and cornbread go to waste. I'm just not gonna do that. And something else to note is that my dad pretty much just doesn't eat vegetables or fruit at all. So he doesn't actually buy any vegetables or leafy greens or anything like that when he buys groceries. So as part of this new plan I have, I'm actually going to offer to do all the grocery shopping for me and my dad, and I'll pay for any of the vegetables and stuff that's just for me with my own money. So that way I take some of the burden off my dad so he won't actually have to go to the store, and I won't be asking him to spend any more of his money on me for my food that he won't even eat. Because he probably would just buy me any vegetables or whatever I want if I ask him to, but I do have a small income now from YouTube, so I think I can afford $30 or something each week for groceries. So I'm gonna do that. And another thing is, whenever I start my lunch break, I'm gonna set a timer for 1 hour so I don't end up browsing Reddit or something and losing my whole day to it. So 1 hour tops for lunch, and that includes cooking the food and eating it. So after that, after my 1 hour lunch, which should put us sometime around noon, 1 p.m., something like that, at that point, I will do some kind of work around the house for at least an hour. So that might be washing dishes, washing clothes, cleaning my room, mowing the grass or other yard work or random work around the house. And I'm also going to ask my mom if she wants me to help with her yard work, because I actually don't hate mowing the grass that much. I mean, it's really not that bad if you can listen to a podcast or something while you do it. So I'm going to offer to mow my mom's lawn too. And if she wants me to do that, then the after lunch chore hour is the time when I'd be doing that. So then after my allotted chore time, I'm going to be doing some kind of exercise. And I'm not going to commit to doing a full weightlifting routine and trying to get jacked or anything, but I will do some pull-ups and push-ups or go for a run or a bike ride. And most of the time, I'll probably be going for a bike ride because that's just the most enjoyable to me. And I actually just can't even run that often because I always get a sharp pain in my groin area if I run too much. And sometimes I get knee pain. I mean, my knees even hurt just from walking sometimes. So yeah, I really can only run at most like 2 or maybe 3 times a week. So I'll probably mostly be doing bike rides and pull-ups and push-ups. And I don't know how long it'll take me to exercise, but it could range anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour and a half. And after that, of course, I'm going to need to take a shower. So I'm thinking on average, exercising plus shower should take about an hour. But, if I go on a longer bike ride, maybe it could take up to 2 hours. So anyways, at this point, after my exercise and shower time, it should be anywhere from maybe 2 p.m., 3 p.m., or even 4 p.m., and that's it. That's as much of my days as I'm going to be scheduling for now. So yeah, that's my new day-to-day schedule, and again, I'm going to be doing this to try to make things easier for my parents. And you probably noticed that my schedule ends at like 2 or 3 p.m. And the reason for that is I don't want to mentally commit to something any more intense than that to start off, because if you haven't noticed by now, I'm not a very motivated or ambitious person. So I'm not trying to set myself up for failure here. And I might actually work on this channel or do some cooking or chores or exercise or anything else after the scheduled time. I might do some more productive stuff later on in the day. But I just don't want to specifically schedule any more time later in the day, because then I'm going to start dreading it and it's going to be mentally taxing just thinking about it. And to be honest, I would probably just give up on the whole thing before I even get started. So I'm starting this with this relatively simple schedule because I think I should be able to stick to it. And I will stop whatever I'm doing throughout the day to record voiceovers for my videos at random times, since I never know when my dad might leave the house. And for those that don't know, I don't want my dad to hear me recording because I don't want him to know about this channel, so I always just record whenever he leaves the house. But he is a fairly active guy for his age, so he does leave to go do random things pretty often. Like, he actually has a bit of a social life, which just makes me look extra pathetic in comparison, but whatever. So yeah, that's the schedule I'm going to be following, and it's going to be kind of awkward when I tell my parents I want to help out with more chores and yard work and stuff, but I'm sure they'll appreciate it. My dad is kind of weird about things like that though, so like he might try to refuse to let me pay for my own groceries just because, I don't know, that's the way he is, but I don't know, we'll see how it goes. Oh, and something I forgot to mention, I'm going to actually try to eat dinner with my dad at least a couple times a week, because right now I always take my food to my room and eat it, and he always watches TV in the living room while he eats, so that might be kind of awkward too, but I think he'll appreciate it if I just sit on the couch in the living room and eat dinner with him. And it sucks for me because I might end up having to watch NCIS or some other lame garbage on TV, whatever my dad's watching, but I think I can tough it out for an hour or however long it takes to eat dinner. And yeah, I think he'll appreciate it, and I think it's probably a good thing for me to do because, like I said, my parents do deserve better from me. They've treated me well for the most part throughout my entire life, so I think I should be doing more. I really do. So we'll see how it goes. I've already got my alarm set for 8 o'clock a.m. and I'm ready to get started.